Welcome back to another episode of Westerospective, where we're bringing the old seasons and the new Game of Thrones. I'm Geoff.
I'm Ron.
And today we are talking Season 1, Episode 6, A Golden Crown.
Yes.
One of my all-time favorite moments of the entire show.
Yes.
It's so good. If this is your first time checking us out, what we're doing with this show is it is full spoilers for all 6 seasons of Game of Thrones because we are revisiting it, having just finished up Season 6. So please have been caught up on the show before you check these out. So the episode starts off with Ned. He's recovering from the wound from the battle with Jaime. And it's a really, really intense conversation between Ned, Cersei, and Robert. And man, the first thing I noticed is like Mark Addy, like he's very likable as that character, but when he wants to, he can just go dark on a dime.
Dude, he can get intense. Like really intense. Yeah, I really like this scene because like you said, it shows how intense he can be. Cersei at this point is not the Cersei that we know later. Like she's not completely different, but she has not yet evolved into what we know her from season 6. So that's interesting. And then Ned is like, "Fuck both of you! I need to chase Jaime the entire time." Yeah.
And then, I mean, Robert makes a good point that, like, if there's a civil war between the Lannisters and the Starks, like, it kind of fucks over all of the other kingdoms, too.
Yeah.
Because they're so important.
Also, there's 2 of the characters in the room, King Robert and Cersei. They have an important character moment for each one, I think, when he slaps her. And she says, "I'll wear this like a badge of honor." And he says, "You'll wear it in silence or I'll honor you again." And then she storms out. And then he's like, "I shouldn't have done that. That wasn't very kingly." I disapprove of, but like that part of the scene at the same time, just because it shows you both characters, you know, like the actual characters themselves came out. So Cersei, what was it she said? Perhaps I should wear the armor and you the gown, and then he smacks her. And then she stood up to him and says, "I know, I'll wear this like a badge of honor." Like, she didn't back down the entire time.
Nope.
And then he put on the facade, and then as soon as she walked out, he was just kind of his old self, like, "I shouldn't have done that. That's not something a king should do."
Yeah, it's almost like he just kind of openly talks about how when he's the king, you know, he's not being himself. He pretty much has to put on an act because I don't think it was ever a job that he really, really desperately wanted.
It's always, every time that I've seen season 1, I always feel like it's kind of alluded to the fact that Ned had the opportunity for the throne and he didn't want it, so Robert ended up with it. Is the sense that I always get.
Yeah, especially in Westeros at this point, like it does seem like the Starks would have more kind of power to swing around than the Baratheons. I think they've even talked at one point about how like the Baratheons are particularly rich. I think they've talked about that in previous episodes. Yeah. I like the quote, too, where he's talking to him about his brothers while we're talking about it. He says, "You were the brother I chose." I really like that quote.
I really liked that, too. Yeah.
From there, they transition over to Khaleesi with the egg. And there are so many fucking foreshadowing moments about her being able to resist fire that somehow, when I was first watching the show originally, it just went all over my head. It's just like, well, this isn't important.
Like the bath in season 1. Remember that?
This was even more blatant. Like, I had even forgotten about how, like, you know, they have the scene in this episode, you know, where her handmaiden's hands get all fucked up and she's just, you know, "Oh, you got hurt."
I was just like, and she's the one that's like, "You got hurt." Yeah.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous as to how much they throw that in your face. But as always, there's too much going on to actually pay attention to it. Did you have anything else to add with that portion? There wasn't really much there.
No, not really. Just fireproof Khaleesi.
From there, they go to Bran during a three-eyed raven vision again, which they ended up doing a lot more of these in season 1 than I actually remember them doing.
Yeah, same. And if I remember correctly, too, and I know this is getting ahead of where we are in season 1 right now, but doesn't it end up going to Ned's sister's grave, like the statue, and that where it's leading him?
I think so.
Yeah.
That
was planned from season
sure.
1, dude. That was planned from the beginning.
Took them a long ass time to do anything with it.
Yeah, it did.
Bran awakes from the vision. Hodor brings in the Tyrion Smith, the plans for the saddle where he can actually ride again. And there's a lot of good stuff in this scene. He goes out and he's riding in the saddle, but the most important stuff in the scene to me is all the Theon stuff.
Yes.
There's a lot of back and forth between them. Basically, this is showing you how quickly word can get around in Westeros because they already know about the thing with Ned and Jaime.
Yeah.
And Theon starts up the whole spiel about, like, your father's injured, it's now your turn to, to rule and make decisions, alluding to what's about to come in the next season and a half. And there's a really, really important quote, too, where, Theon's doing this whole spiel like he's part of the family, and then Robb just tells him to fuck off by saying it's not your duty because it's not your house.
Yeah.
And it's just like...
And it might as well be since he was taken as a child, So.
And it's one of those things, it's like, yeah, Theon, what he does later, but at this moment, like, they are an asshole to Theon quite often.
They really are.
Yeah, they kind of... they're kind of asking for it almost by how much they go out of their way to be a dick to him. I mean, he's an asshole too, but I mean, Jesus, it's kind of unnecessary. Bran goes off into the woods. He is attacked by a couple of wildlings. This is the first time Osha is introduced.
Yes.
I'd also totally forgotten she had introduced this quickly.
Yeah, I was surprised at how fast we run into her. This was a cool scene, though. Just because of everything that happens. I love, though, when they're trying to force him off of his horse, and he's like, I can't.
Like, what the fuck do you want from me?
Yeah. But, yeah.
When he gets cut, is fucked up.
Yeah, I didn't remember that.
Yeah.
I honestly had no memory of that. But, yeah, there's that, and then I love how Robb is, like, pissed that Theon saved Bran. More or less. And you just kind of keep waiting for Theon to be like, to make some quip about it not being his house or something. But
I think he does. I didn't write down the exact quote, but I believe he does. It's also fitting too how he took the guy out by shooting him in the back. Like,
yes.
Yeah. It's like in that scene, I agree with Theon. I don't agree with Robb. I mean, what is he supposed to do? The dude had a knife to, his brother's neck.
Yeah. I don't know. But yep, Theon totally saving his ass even after everything that just happened.
Yep, and then he totally does the opposite of redemption soon after. Did you have anything else to add about that portion?
Nope.
From there, we go back to Tyrion and what I have dubbed the prison of Nope. When he fucking wakes up by almost rolling off the cliff in that one scene, I was like, I think my butt clenched just watching the show. It's like it's a fucking green screen. Just like, nope.
I love the no gold. Fuck off.
Yeah, is it Mord, the turnkey guy?
Yeah.
I want that spinoff.
Then he starts like going through his pockets, and then he's like, "No gold," and then he's like, "Well, I don't have it here."
Are you aware of what gold is as a concept? Shit like that. I fucking love Tyrion. Yeah, we're going to come back to Tyrion in a second. From here, we go to what's going to be, I'm sure, one of our favorite conversation points. It's our old boy Syrio is back, finally.
I've been waiting for this.
And it's like, literally every quote they ever gave that character is quotable. He's doing another quote-unquote dance lesson with Arya, and it's really important because they go into the subject of what's kind of like an overall theme of the show, and it's like, she's talking about how she can't fight because she's distracted because of what's going on with her dad and her family. And then, he tells her straight up, if you are with your trouble when fighting happens, more trouble.
More trouble for you.
More trouble for you, yeah.
Yeah. Well, the one that I loved was, you're fearing for your father? That's right. Do you pray to the gods? And she says the old and the new. And he says there's only one God, and his name is death. And there's only one thing we say to death. Not today.
I was actually thinking, because I wrote that one down too. There's only one thing we say to death, not today. I might actually get that as a tattoo one day. I just fucking love that quote. And the way he delivers it's gold.
Oh, dude, the way that guy delivers every line is gold. I think that's half of the reason why he's so quotable. Because if you actually just, look at what he says, some of it's just kind of, par. But everything he says is amazing. So, yeah. No, I love fucking Syrio.
Yeah, I wish we had gotten more.
I know. I remember him being, peppered in every episode throughout the season. And we've seen him twice.
I think we've only seen him in 2 full episodes, and he's the end cap on the 1 episode. So really, we've only seen 2 episodes with him even in it. Really,
yeah.
It's crazy just how little he was in the show.
And I'm thinking the next time we see him is the final scene with him.
Why you got to bring the room down, man? Did you have anything else to add with this portion?
Nope. No, I have fucking loved that line ever since I started this show the first time.
I'm dead serious. That's actually a potential tattoo idea. It's so fucking good.
Yeah,
it's so fucking good. We transition from there to Khaleesi making Geoff throw up by eating the horse heart. And then, it's there's so many fucking people that get murdered just viciously in the show, but it's eating the horse heart that disturbs me. It's it's fucking gross.
Again, about the horse heart part, it doesn't help that their sound guy is so damn good,
right?
Because it's just awful to listen to.
It's stomach turning just listening to it.
I was Viserys in that scene. It was just kind of oh god.
Yeah, one of the most underrated performances in the show, I think, of season 1 is Viserys. I thought he was great. When he's just looking around, there's such a hint, and he's so good at portraying just how fucking jealous he is of how all of this shit he set up selfishly has backfired in every way imaginable, and everything that has happened to his sister, who he literally treats like dirt, could not care less about his sister, has gotten everything he ever wanted.
Pretty much.
And he comes across so jealous about the whole thing, whereas it's a really convincing
He's mad
performance. More good Jorah stuff in here. I like when Viserys leaves the ceremony.
Yes, that's what I have highlighted.
He's going to steal the dragon eggs because he wants to sell them. And then Jorah goes up and catches them. And you might have more quotes. Did you have any quotes you had highlighted for this one?
Yeah. I liked if I sell 1 egg, I have enough to buy a ship. 2 eggs, a ship, and an army. And Jorah's and you have all 3. And he's I need a very large army. But the one that I think cuts straight down to who the fuck Jorah is throughout the entire series is when he says, you can go, but you can't have the eggs. And Viserys says, you swore an oath to me. Does loyalty mean nothing to you? And he responds with, it means everything to me. And Viserys says, and yet here you stand. And Jorah says, and here I stand.
And yet here I stand. Yeah, that was the one I put down too.
I fucking love that.
Yeah, it's really, really cool moment. And fucking love Jorah, dude.
Like I said, that is Jorah right there to a T. Through the entire series, that quote. Yeah,
more disturbing quotes from Viserys too about how he's talking about. He calls him out on. He knows that Jorah, is in love with Khaleesi.
Yeah,
and he just it's so fucked up. He's just he's literally just you can have her, but I want the eggs. You know?
And the way he says it too. Because he says, she can be queen of the savages and dine on the finest bloody horse parts, and you can dine on whichever parts of her you like. Like, what a fucking terrible thing to say. One, about anyone. Two, your sister. Like,
it's very disturbing.
Yeah, the way that he would even think to word it is just awful.
It's gut-wrenchingly terrible. I can't wait to talk about the end of the episode. Let's go back to the prison of Nope. And Tyrion's able to actually get an audience with the queen. She's the queen of the Vale, right? Lysa?
Pretty much, yeah.
Pretty much. I don't know what her exact title is at the Vale.
Yeah, I'm not sure what her exact title is either, but I mean that's more or less what she is.
Yeah, he's able to get all the
she's
stuff.
More or less, if anything, she's more a regent, right?
Yeah,
because
I don't know if they ever actually go into detail in the.
I don't think they ever did either. But Robin's kind of like too young, so she would be the regent until he's of age.
Tyrion sets up to go have the audience with Lysa. He starts up the whole thing, that ends up being very important to his character of the whole trial by combat idea.
Yeah.
I also really, really like to when they're trying to pick a champion for the Vale, and they're all fighting to fight for Lysa and Robin, and then once the one guy's finally picked and like volunteers and is chosen, Tyrion's just like, yeah, probably gonna regret that because I picked Jaime.
Yeah.
I like that portion. It was really, really cool. Fucking Tyrion, and then they completely shit on his idea where Lysa turns the whole thing around. She's like, "No, we're doing it today," and Tyrion's just like, "Fuck."
Yeah, no, I loved that part where it just kind of backfires on Tyrion for a moment. But before that, I loved him confessing his crimes, dude.
Yes, yeah.
Surely you have seen the episode if you're listening to us. If not, why the fuck are you listening to us? There's no reading those quotes. It was so long, and we couldn't do it justice anyway. You just have to watch it.
A whole lot of disturbing metaphors that are used.
Dude, I do like how, and only because I have the transcript up do I know this. I once brought a jackass and a honeycomb into a brothel, and that's why she cuts him off.
And then I like how Robin too is just like, what happens next?
Yeah.
It's good stuff. And then obviously our boy Bronn. Like, what a cool quote too. It's like, I'll stand for the dwarf. Like, This is fucking badass, dude. I love Bronn.
And he says it's kind of so matter-of-factly too. He just kind of walks up, I'll stand for the dwarf.
Fucking love Bronn.
Yes.
Did you have anything else up with that section?
Nope.
From there we go to Robert, Renly, Sir Barristan, and Spaceballs. And this is them joining Sir Robert on one of his boar hunts. And there's a lot of good back and forth here between... I like how Robert's talking. Like, they have that really, really great bit about making the 8.
Yes.
It's just like, it's one of those things. It's like, this is one of those instances where it shows how fleshed out the world is, because they have these like odd little things like this that in the grand scheme of the show mean nothing, but they give it such like a rich context. Like, you feel like it's actually a place, because places like this would have these little in-jokes and stuff.
Right. Yeah, no, it's a cool little detail.
Yeah, and it's like
very Tolkien-esque.
And then this is actually kind of a callback to how Robert's talking to Ned at the beginning of the episode about how he never really got along with his brothers, because like literally all him and Renly do this entire scene is argue with each other, to the point of where Renly kind of says to go fuck yourself and leaves.
Yeah.
There's not really a whole lot else to say about it, other than I do kind of like how both Ned and Robert both have an immense respect for Sir Barristan, because Robert's openly more respectful to Barristan than he is his own brother in the sequence.
Yes. I like how the last line of the entire thing is, "More wine, Your Grace?" from Spaceballs. And then he yawns.
Yeah. I need to watch Spaceballs again.
I know.
Every time I make this joke, I want to watch Spaceballs again. From there, we go to Ned on the throne with Pycelle and Littlefinger in a scene I had completely fucking forgot ever took place. There's a lot of shit that goes down in here.
Well, the
first
first couple of viewings, it just kind of goes over your head because you know the mountain, but who the fuck is Sir Gregor Clegane?
Yeah. Everyone has names that sound similar, and each person has two different names. It's ridiculous, trying to get a grasp of it at first. I'd completely forgotten they actually show Beric Dondarrion, but he's recast later on. Another person who was actually recast, adding to the list. And I'd completely forgotten that it was Ned who actually sent him on the chase after the mountain.
Yeah.
That it completely got over my head. I like the new actor they got, too. He seems to kind of be like a more grungy pick for it later on. Than
I'm trying to remember who the fuck it is.
Do what?
I'm trying to remember who the fuck it is.
Okay, Beric Dondarrion in this scene, he's the guy who he calls out, to send after the mountain.
Right.
Later on, this is the guy who the Red Priest brings back. He's in the Brotherhood Without Banners.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, Beric Dondarrion is that. He's the guy with the flaming sword we talked about in the previous episode.
Okay.
And then he's just another guy that kind of throws you for a loop because he was recasted. Maybe
that's why I never noticed.
Yeah, I totally forgotten he was actually a part of this, and I'd totally forgotten that it was Ned who actually sent him after the mountain. Also, I had forgotten about how Ned also puts a call out for Tywin. Tywin has a fortnight to come in, or he's going to be a traitor.
And then that's when I remembered the entrance Tywin makes in either the next episode or the one after, when he's on horseback, and the first thing you see the horse do is shit in the room.
Now, does he make an appearance in season 1, or is it not till season 2 that he makes an appearance?
I think he's like the last episode of season
very last
1.
episode?
I think so.
Oh, I can't wait for Tywin. I fucking love Tywin.
Oh, I know. The character, the actor, all of it. Charles Dance. Motherfucking Dance.
And then as Ned is leaving the throne room, one of my favorite quotes that I did write down is him he's talking to Littlefinger, and Littlefinger and Pycelle both immediately are just like, what the fuck are you doing calling out Tywin like that? And then Littlefinger tells him gold wins wars, not soldiers, and he immediately retorts, then how come Robert is king and not Tywin Lannister?
But we know it's coming.
But the way Sean Bean delivered that line was pretty badass.
Yeah. It was a give no fucks tone of voice.
Yeah, it is just like he's finally...
But, like, one of the most famous images of Tywin from the show is him sitting on the Iron Throne with the Hand of the King thing on his chest. So it's like, in the end, gold won.
Basically. Yeah, there's all kinds of shit in that sequence I had forgotten about. Was there anything else you wanted to add?
Nope.
And then from here we go to one of the best moments of the season, and that is Bronn's trial by combat. And the first thing that you notice is I fucking love how the Veil guy is completely Dark Souls'd out in armor and shield, and Bronn literally doesn't have a shield. He's in his normal clothes for the most part, and he's just one-handing his weapon against the guy with the sword and the shield.
Yes,
awesome.
Bronn, the way he fights is the character that I usually pick in any video game, and that's usually like a rogue or a thief or something of that nature where it's lightweight armor, like he's got leather armor as opposed to the metal, and everything he does is fast. He has to dodge the sword and everything. Yeah, I love watching Bronn fight.
He uses the terrain to his advantage. He ends up actually throwing a dude at the soldier he's fighting.
Yeah.
It's badass. I fucking love Bronn.
Basically, as long as winning is winning is the way he looks at it.
And then when he eventually pulls the fucking Brad Pitt from Troy through the fucking collarbone like that, I can't. Just the thought of that and the sound effect.
Oh, I know. It's awful.
Makes me cringe. And then the whole time, too, the actor's so good. Bronn looks nonchalant almost through the entire fight. There's a couple moments where he's about to get knocked through the moon door where he has a little bit of a glimpse of actual unease, but the rest of the time he's just I don't give a shit.
The rest of the time you can tell he already knows how this fight's kind of going to go. A little bit.
Bronn wins. And then all of the people in the Vale are just shocked. And then of course we have to have the quote, "You don't fight with honor." No. He did. His delivery is just fun. I can watch that on like a loop all day.
I want to know how many takes that delivery took.
It was so fucking understated and perfect.
Yeah. It's just like, no, he did.
And it's brilliant, too, because you can literally take that as a microcosm of the first, 5 seasons of this show. That entire fight. He fought with honor. He fought straight up. He brought, a shield, and, he actually brought armor to this fight. The other two did fight it legit, and then Bronn didn't fight, he didn't fight with full honor. He just kind of took it half-assed. He was quicker about it, he was smarter about it, and he won.
Yep.
That is a complete... in a nutshell, the entire arc of all of the Starks for the first 3 or 4 seasons of the show.
Pretty much.
There's also a little bit of Tyrion character development, too, I thought, in this. When you compare this trial by combat to the trial by combat later on between the Viper and the Mountain, too. Because I noticed in this fight, if you actually watch it, Dinklage is actually... when Bronn is actually getting in hits and stuff, Tyrion seems to actually be enjoying that he's winning right now.
Right.
If you remember later on in the Viper and the Mountain fight, Tyrion doesn't enjoy that fight at all.
He doesn't want any part of it, basically.
Yeah, it's almost like at this part of the show, Tyrion isn't as fully developed into being a genuinely good dude as he is later on, because we said, he doesn't enjoy any moment of the Viper Mountain fight at all.
Yeah.
Even when it looks like he's going to win, he's not enjoying it at all.
Yeah, no, he doesn't. And like you said, he's the good is there, but I don't think he's been pushed far enough. Right now he's just kind of Tyrion being Tyrion. He's never really had to be responsible for much or anything because no one thinks he can handle anything. So he just goes out and whores and drinks and just enjoys life, basically. Enjoys being a Lannister.
Anything else to add with the Bronn section?
Nope, just I could watch that fight all day.
Exactly. 110% agree. Now we go for our episode... moment where we have to show just how much of an asshole Sansa is. Jesus Christ. The character development to get this character back to being likable a few seasons later is like a work of art.
Oh, I know.
Because she is fucking unbearable every time she opens up her mouth in this first season. That moment when she's talking with the Septa, and then, it actually looks like she's kind of interested in hearing about where she's from, and then she starts to give her backstory. She's like, oh, wait, I remember I don't care. I was like, God damn it, Sansa.
God damn it,
such
Sansa.
a bitch.
That's the name of the segment. It's just, God damn it,
Sansa. And then they have Joffrey come in.
Yeah, and every time I see him, I'm just like, fuck you.
Fucking Joffrey. This is where he starts doing his old fucking spiel about, I'll make you queen, blah, 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 blah. He's just... He is straight up so Cersei in how he... Behind the scenes, he's a fucking nightmare, but when he wants to, he can appear kind of well-mannered. And
when he's king, he doesn't give any fucks anymore. There's no needing to be well-mannered at all.
Nope. Yeah. Oh, there was going to be so much talk about Joffrey later on.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, just...
and if we're not careful, I mean, that's a whole podcast on its own, just how much we hate him.
Yep.
And, when we say we hate him, we love to hate him. But the actor is so good, he makes us hate him.
He was glorious. He was perfect. It sucks that he will forever be cussed at in the streets because of his role.
I know. I think he's probably another one of those that does the role so well, he can probably never escape it. He may not ever work in Hollywood again because everyone just looks at him and sees Joffrey.
That might be part of the reason that he quit acting. Because did
he
part
quit?
Of it was he do what?
Did he quit?
Yeah, I think we reported on the podcast at one point. He quit mostly because he wanted to pursue doing charitable work. Which is so ironic. It's like he's Joffrey, but he's like one of the nicest dudes on the planet.
He got so into character, he feels like he needs to make amends.
Yeah, it's just like, I gotta get rid of this Joffrey karma. From the Sansa and Joffrey scene, we go to a Theon scene between him and Rose before she's leaving for King's Landing, and you're just like, no, don't go, don't go, for the love of God. And this scene's actually important too because this just kind of shows you like a quick little glimpse into how Theon's relationship is with everybody. He is closer with the town prostitute than he is with his actual quote unquote family.
Right.
He has like a better relationship with her than he does Rob, who he's been basically brothers with for his entire life, and ever since he was like 8 years old.
Yeah,
it's kind of sad.
I was gonna say it's kind of sad. Yeah,
it's really sad. Just how it doesn't give him a reason to do what he does later on, but it is just kind of sad just how fucked up his situation was. I thought.
Yeah, Theon's having a bad time.
Yeah. It's about to get worse, but he's having a bad time.
Yeah.
Let's see. One of my favorite moments is coming up. We go to the next scene, and it is Ned trying to get Arya and Sansa the fuck out of King's Landing, which he should have already done a long time before here. I like how he's telling him to leave. Arya is just like, I want to continue my dancing lessons. Sansa's just like, fuck you. I want to marry Joffrey.
Oh, seven hells.
Yeah. Man, Macy Williams was already fantastic. You don't realize it until you go back. She was already amazing. My favorite quote, though, was where Ned is talking about how, I'm going to get you someone, brave and gentle and strong and actually worthy of you. And then Sansa says, I don't want someone brave and gentle and strong. I want him. And they cut to this brilliant little quick scene between Arya and Ned. They both chuckle and laugh about it.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, she's like, do you even realize what you just said? Type of thing. I love that little moment between them.
I also love how that's exactly what she fucking gets. He's not brave, he's not gentle, and he's not strong, and she gets him.
Yep. Be careful what you wished for, Sansa.
Yep.
Fucking Joffrey, man.
She's gonna have a bad time.
Yeah. And then this is obviously where it leads to Ned figuring it out that Joffrey is not actually a Baratheon. And man, Ned made a lot of mistakes, but as far as the whole CSI portion of the season, he was pretty dead on. He figured out all of their shit.
Yep. Yeah, he found out what Jon Arryn knew, what killed him. He knows how he died.
He knows about all the bastards.
Much. Yeah, he's pretty much got everything all uncovered. And I think the next episode is when Cersei delivers one of my favorite lines of the show, and it's the namesake of the show. Though when you play the Game of Thrones, you die. You either win or you die.
So good.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the next episode. And then, of course, we have to finish today's episode with one of the just best moments of television of the last 10 years, in my opinion.
It's so metal.
It's so good. So this is not only an awesome scene just because it is the first time Game of Thrones has one of their oh, what the fuck just happened endings. This is the one with Ned getting stabbed in the leg and the Jaime fight is kind of a what the fuck, but this is true fucking bare bones Game of Thrones what the fuck just happened endings that they become kind of famous for.
Yes.
And this is the first one, and there's a lot of shit to discuss about it. Literally, my first note was just all caps, yes. Because we talked about it before. This was the moment that I first just fully accepted the show for just basically becoming an obsession. I cannot wait to watch this. Man, just the level of poetic justice behind all of this. Fucking Khal Drogo, when you really think about it, only has 2 or 3 English sentences his entire performance in the show, but it's so memorable that everyone still refers to Jason Momoa as Khal Drogo.
Yes.
And you pretty much
he was intense in this scene.
It's amazing. When you're seeing what's going on after Viserys has come in, and when fucking Viserys holds the blade, which, by the way, his sword is awesome. I want a replica of his sword.
His sword is awesome, but it has no business near any pregnant woman's stomach. But then his sisters
Dude, when he fucking holds the blade up to her, and then he has that fucking just that cold, calculated delivery. And I'm gonna paraphrase it, but he was just like, "I'm, he bought you, but he never paid for you."
Yeah.
And then he talks about how he can keep the baby, I'll cut it out and leave it for him.
Yeah.
God damn, man.
And that's all being translated to Drogo. And just the look on his face, at the way he's looking at him, it's like he's already figuring out how he wants to kill him, basically. And he just kind of like leans forward. Not to mention that, there's all kinds of stuff going on in that scene. And the moment he pulls out that sword, everything just stopped.
Yeah, which is very un-Dothraki.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's, Jorah's already told him that it's illegal in the sacred city to have your weapon, you have your sword. And they were already just kind of tolerating him to begin with. And then they even let him carry his sword around, even though he's not supposed to. And then he drew it against their queen, and their queen is fucking pregnant. And he held it straight up to the baby and threatened to cut it out.
And then when he does... What is the exact Khal Drogo quote when he does? He's like he doesn't say a gold crown for you. That was always a quote that I thought he said. Do you have it pulled up?
Yeah, Danny translates. He says, "Yes, you shall have a golden crown that men shall tremble to behold."
But the actual like English that Khal Drogo says right as he pours it on him.
Oh, that it is. A crown for a king?
A crown for a king. Yeah, the way he delivers those like broken English sentences is so fucking metal, man.
Yeah.
And then you want to talk about sound effects.
Oh,
when you hear it, like it's so
like frying an egg.
it's so effective. Like you can almost like, and then when you see like it's melting his hair off, even like oh my god,
he goes like full Emperor Palpatine for a moment too. And then when his head hits the ground and it's just that hollow metallic thud.
Yeah. And then what's so important too is like this is the like the death of the quote unquote dragon is the birth of the actual dragon, because this scene I think is the first moment when you see the look in her eyes after she tells Jorah, "I'm not looking away." I
was going to say, let's talk about that for a second, because he says look away, and the only thing she says is no.
The look on her. The look. That's the first time you get the look on her face when she is Khaleesi. Like
yes,
that was like the defining moment, like where she transitioned. I think like from here on out, she's fully developed Khaleesi pretty much.
Yeah, that's the way I see it.
Very very cool, brilliant fucking setup. I cannot wait for all the cool Khaleesi shit to come. But it's just fucking cool that like this moment. It's not only just ostensibly cool because of how fucked up a kill it is and how awesome a way to end your episode is, but there's a lot of actual important like lore behind the show behind it.
Also, imagine the dread, because he literally is being held while waiting for the gold to melt. Imagine, like, what he's about to do.
And they just broke his arm too.
Yeah. And they're sitting there just holding him still while patiently waiting for the gold to melt. Yeah, and then you get to watch him walk over to you and then pour it on you. Yeah.
It's really the first time. It's until we get much later on. This is actually, I think, the first time there's actually like poetic justice for like an asshole character.
Yeah.
Because after this moment, for a few seasons, you don't really see anyone bad get it until Joffrey, I don't think. Like, it's a while.
Yeah.
So, listen, you have to kind of, like, hang your hat on this one for a while.
Oh, but man, it was amazing. It was
fantastic.
He was no dragon. Fire cannot kill a dragon. That was the last highlight that I have.
So good. I can't wait for the next episode. Was there anything else you think we missed from the episode?
No, I think we hit all the high notes and the important stuff. Jesus Christ, I never realized just how much there was to talk about in each individual episode.
This is probably my favorite episode from season 1, I think.
Yeah, I imagine.
Between the Golden Crown thing and the Moon Door fight, it's probably my favorite bit.
Yeah. this right here, Jeff, is why I love 10 to 13 episodes for a season.
I agree.
Because we're doing an entire podcast about a show, and we get 40 minutes to an hour out of every episode, just of all the important shit. If we were doing, like, The Flash, there would be entire episodes that we would skip, probably, because they have, like, 22, 24 episodes a season, and some of it's just, like, filler. You know, that I get tired of that.
I'm glad we're transitioning away from it.
Yeah.
There's more television now that run the 10 to 13 format than they do 22.
10 to 13 is perfect because it leaves me wanting more, as it should. It shouldn't exhaust me. And it's balls to the wall the entire time.
I completely agree. If you would like to check us out more, please like and subscribe. That gets you all of our content. In addition to Game of Thrones stuff, we also do a weekly podcast for news and movies, TV, and gaming. We also do Let's Plays. If you're curious about those, check them out on the channel. We have Facebook and Twitter links below if you're curious about that. They are in the description. Most importantly, if you know anyone else that might also enjoy our content, we would really appreciate a share. For this night and all the nights to come, I'm Geoff.
I'm Ron, and now this watch has ended.